Hello everyone and welcome to round 1 of the ARL F1 2013 Season 7 Championship. It's the Australian Grand Prix. We're going around Albert Park today. I'm Matthew Gallagher and joining me once again in the commentary box for this season as well, it's Scott Woodwith.
Thank you very much, Matty. Good afternoon, everybody. And yes, this is the big one. This is the moment that everyone who follows the ARL has been waiting for. The first round of the F1 2013 Xbox 360 Championship. The pre-season race is over. All the teams have decided. We've now jetted off to our first event of the season. And what a place to kick it off, Matty. The best place, I think, to start the season in Melbourne, Australia.
In previous seasons, it's proved to be an exciting race. As you can see in Season 6, Noble took the victory once again from Big Shot Player with a great result in second and Raven in third. Tigger took the pole with a 1:22.4. He's not racing this season. Let's find out who takes pole for the Season 7 Australian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the qualifying comparison here at Australia for the first round of the ARL Season 7 F1 Championship. Today we've got the Red Bull pairing with TRL on the left and Fisi 91 on the right as we fly through turn 1 4th gear before swinging through turn 2, now on the run to turn 3. Trace not activating his DRS right away, which is going to cost him a fraction of time in his first sector split. Is now hard on the brakes down to first gear, bringing the car to the right on exit to open up turn 4, feathering the throttle, waiting for the back end to feel planted before going back to full throttle and keeping that throttle now down through turn 5 and heading into the second sector now. Braking amongst the shadows, very hard to spot the turning point, but both drivers doing a great job of hitting the apex with Tracer curling the head or so. At this point of the lap, sweeping now through this right-hander, staying left on the exit as we head into turns 9 and 10, a slower version of turns 1 and 2 in a way, as both drivers respecting the track boundaries, which is great to see as that was something made very aware to the drivers before the race. As now heading into the third sector, flicking the car left, 6th gear and then right for the second part of this difficult chicane, and as you can see there that Fisi managing to narrow the margin between himself and his teammate ever so slightly as they now have just 4 corners remaining. Turn 13 lies ahead, taking nicely apex, carry good cornering speed through here. Trace using 2nd gear to help get the front of the car into the corner whilst Fisi in 3rd. Now for the 3rd to last corner, just a slight lift on entry before braking just about 60 metres before the corner, turning in 1st gear. Watch the throttle on the exit, plant the power and keep that power nailed down through the final corner using the KERS and the DRS to help power to the line, and it's Trace coming out on top in this qualifying comparison as well as the inter-team battle by just 76 thousandths of a second as the Red Bull teammates line up on the 3rd row of the grid.
Thank you very much, Harry Jacks, for the first qualifying comparison of the season. And let's take a look at the grid for the season opener of the ARL F1 2013 Season 7 Championship. It's an all too familiar sight with champion Noble 2909 in the Williams taking pole position by almost 0.2 of a second from a surprising Big Shot Player in the Ferrari. Great performance to get his car on the front row. It's 2 familiar faces on row 2 with TRL MoNsTeR in the Toro Rosso and the man who left Toro Rosso, xMattyG, in row 2 in the second Williams. Red Bull lock out the 3rd row with TRL out qualifying a new teammate Fisi 91 in 6th. The first of the new boys, TRL Qualy in the Mercedes, takes up row 7 ahead of Ryan 83 in the second Ferrari. And rounding out the top 10 on row 5, Randy McSprandy in the Mercedes and the Contadins in the Sauber. TRL Schumacher takes up best of the rest in 11th, with RickeeyC in 12th setting his fastest time on the option tyre, but elected to start the race as the only man on the prime tyres. Jason 97 F1 in the Force India and Mazy CZ in the Sauber make up row 7, and at the back of the grid, HyperX Callum in the second Force India and F1 X360 F1 starts 16th and last after not setting a time. There's the grid, the scene is set for a thrilling opening round. Let's head out to the grid for the first race of the season, the Australian Grand Prix.
It's the opening race of the season. It's the Australian Grand Prix. It's xMattyG and RapidScorpion commentating for you today. The weather is overcast. There is 0% chance of rain today. And Scott, it's the opening race. Everyone's level on points. How do you see it?
16, the fastest driver on an Xbox 360 F1 2013, set to do 29 laps of Albert Park and waiting on 5 simple red lights. I say, gentlemen, let's go to war. Let's kick off season 7 in the best possible way.
It all started their engines. They're waiting for the lights to come on. Charlie Whiting taking a little while. Here they come now. We've got 4. We've got 5. And season 7 is underway. The lights go out and away we go. xMattyG in 4th place in the Williams, getting a reasonable start. Looks like Trace is having a slight look round the outside. Down into standard fuel mixture for Matty now. And coming through turn 1 now on board with Ryan in the Ferrari, getting a slight nudge from behind. Randy looking up the inside as well, but Ryan slightly running wide but managing to keep it. on the track. TRL now looking around the outside of Matty. Is he going to try it around the outside? No, he's not. There's 29 laps of fuel, so Trace has decided against it. There's the Contadins going around the outside of Randy, or is that Randy trying to get past? There's side by side pushing Contadins off the track slightly there, and now Contadins repaying the favour, but Randy up into 8th place, and now Matty straight behind TRL MoNsTeR for 3rd.
Slightly messy start, but it looks as though most people have got through with that too much drama, as now we've got Matty coming up the inside of MoNsTeR, down the inside towards 3rd place. He manages to take the position, and a huge training car stacking up hard, and it's Qualy, and this is on board with Fisi fan, who almost nudged the back of Trace as they come down towards the very fast high-speed left-right section, one of the best corners I think on this circuit, if not the best, and down here towards it, and Trace had to back off, and Fisi's been bulked as well, and that could put Qualy into a position to possibly pass. He's getting a little bit close, but back towards the front of Noble has the lead, and all too familiar sight from Season 6. Of course, they're in different cars this year. They're not in the Toro Rosso, they're actually in the Williams, as we've now got in front. That was that Randy running, that is actually Randy on board with it up the inside of Macaulay's run wide. Now the Constance might go round the outside. It's Fast and Frantic on the opening lap, and Ryan trying to get his nose up the inside too, but I think somehow they'll manage to get through, and that's one lap of ARL completed, Season 7.
Here we go, so we're coming on to lap 2 now on board with RickeeyC in the McLaren, and we're going to get a replay now of the start. TRL MoNsTeR in 3rd place, going straight up into rich fuel mixture, getting a reasonable start on Big Shot, who his location has probably hindered his start slightly, because I think MoNsTeR is the host of this race as well, and Big Shot just about managing to keep on to 2nd place. And RickeeyC now in 13th, so he didn't make up many places on those prime tyres, slightly having some contact with the Force India there, but RickeeyC will gain a position in this lap at some point. Mazy CZ diving it up the inside, or in the middle of 2 cars, and finding himself spinning, which I think really, you couldn't really have expected anything else really. I think that was quite a dangerous move from Mazy, and I'm surprised that no one else was facing the wrong way. Crookie trying to take it easy and then hitting the side of Mazy's car, losing his complete front wing. So that is Crookie's race well and truly hindered, and he's going to have to fight very hard for any sort of points today. Randy now going in the middle of 2 cars, and oh my god, there's a lot of wheel banging going on. I don't know how Randy wasn't facing the wrong way, especially with this impact engine. And that's Randy overtaking Contadins and Matty on MoNsTeR.
Yeah, lots of fast and frantic action to kick off Season 7, of course, in the first lap, but somehow it looks like most of the competitors have managed to get through with too much unscathed, with the exception, of course, of Crookie and Mazy. There's Ricky go up the inside of Jason 97, and he managed to get himself with the P12. It's surprised not seeing him up near the front, because he was a front runner in the Caterham last year, but I'll have to wait to see how it plays out. Fisi locking up his inside front into turn 3, and that's let Randy McScrandy through in the McLaren, and Randy's teammate Ricky now trying to get up the inside of Schumacher and almost tipping the Mercedes into a spin. So the McLarens are struggling early on, it looks like, not really showing the ultimate pace that especially Randy showed in the second half of the season. Really came on strong, but he's struggling at the outset with his brand new F1 2013 physics. And of course, tyre scaling is back, so we're expecting to see drivers possibly do something in a region of a 3-stop strategy. And because there is tyre scaling back, these soft tyres are going to be wearing pretty quickly. So wouldn't be surprised if we actually see cars coming in the next couple of laps, even as early as possibly lap 3 or lap 4. But Noble has the lead now. He's still just ahead of Big Shot, so he's doing a great job in that Ferrari to hold on. And they've pulled away from Matty. They've gapped into 1.6 seconds. So it looks as though at the moment these two had the measure of the rest of the field in the opening laps.
Yep, Noble in 1st place, as we've seen quite a lot last season, but Big Shot well and truly holding on to the Williams driver, and now cutting to the Sauber driver of the Contadins, who is behind TRL Qualy, one of the new boys in the Mercedes, and he's having a slight look at the inside, just about not making contact. Thank God for that, otherwise I think Qualy would have been facing the wrong way. Ryan now going to try and take advantage of it, but his back end is sliding all over the place, getting a lot of oversteer through that last corner, and Randy McScrandy pitting on lap 2, Scott, so even early as lap 2, as xMattyG sets the fastest lap of a 1:25.5, but wow, lap 2, so they are going to be pushing a 3-stop strategy. You're right with that, Scott. I think it's going to be 3 sets of prime tyres after this initial option stint. As Ricky looks at the inside of Schumacher, that was a dangerous move, just about managing to get away with it. Now looking around the outside, Ricky can't make it stick. Schumacher running him out of room almost there, and Ricky trying to make up places on those primes, but it doesn't seem like he's got the overall pace, as you said, from Season 6.
It's intriguing that these new boys are not letting the experienced names push them around a little too much. Schumacher wasn't going to let Ricky go around the outside too easy. He gave him just enough room to keep him on the track, but might be a bit lenient, but the stewards will probably look at that if they feel they have to. This is now Fisi on board now in P6, and he's now got a train of cars behind him already on lap 3, so they head into the chicane. A little too deep is the first part, but that might just put Macaulay onto his back end. This is now looking for the constant. He's looking at Macaulay in the Mercedes, and he's closing in on the slipstream. When you have a look up the inside here, no, he thinks about it, and he might have just possibly nudged the rear end. And back with Ricky now, of course, on those prime tyres, understeering wide, and Jason mugging up the inside. He's blocked on the curb, and there goes Jason into P11. And xMattyG, the man from second in the championship last year, is in on lap 3. He's the first of the big boys to come in, as of course his Fisi fan as well. So these option tyres with the new tyre scaling for F1 2013, it's been reintroduced from 2012, as Contadins also makes a stop for Sauber. Really shaking things up, and of course look at this, these fantastic brand new pit cameras we get, see points of view of course also from occasions such as the helmet cam from some of the mechanics, as the Sauber boys complete constant stop and Matty exits from P10. So the pit lane's getting very busy already, and only in the early stages of the race, so I'm expecting we're going to see a lot of traffic throughout the remaining 25 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial for especially xMattyG, who's trying to get back into the fight for first place with Noble and Big Shot. It looked like he had quite a bit of space in front of him, so hopefully he'll be able to make the most of the space that he's got in front of him. As you can see now, on board with him, he's got maybe 2-3 seconds maybe to Mazy ahead, but Mazy will be on worn options, so I think Matty may well even catch him by the end of this lap. It depends how much Mazy is struggling. Let's have a look at Noble's tyres. Look at his front left, it is completely gone. It is red as anything as Big Shot runs wide through that fast left right, and Big Shot slightly losing touch with Noble, but still within the DRS zone. But I think both of these drivers are probably going to be looking to come into the pits this lap, because I think Noble and Big Shot will have lost time to the cars that will have pitted on lap 3, but then they will have slightly fresher tyres come towards the end of their stint, and then the people like Matty will have to pit a lap earlier at least, as MoNsTeR dives into the pits, as well as Noble and Big Shot. So the top 3 all coming into the pits for a fresh set of primes. And as I said, Scott, I think it's probably going to be a 3-stop strategy with all prime tyres, because it's not really worth pushing a prime stint to get another option run in it, because the options just don't last. They're 3-4 laps old, and the front left is practically falling off the car.
Well, of course, it does depend in some cases how many laps, whether it's 1 or 2 flying laps some of the drivers did in their qualifying runs, as we now on board with Matty sweeping past, and that's in fact Big Shot in front of him, and he hasn't leapfrogged the Ferrari, but he is on the back end of him, and he possibly will get DRS down. He won't get DRS at all at the moment. He can use plenty of his curves. He's going to try and go around the outside, and Big Shot will try and hold the inside line. Matty's thinking, forget this, I'm going around the outside on the fresh tyres, and he's held the inside line. That's a beautiful move from xMattyG to get up the inside of turn 4, and he's up into P5. That was a crucial move. He needed to make that, otherwise he would have lost a hell of a lot of time behind Big Shot. On board with MoNsTER now, he's now the next target, which Big Shot have to face now. As Noble's now under attack from Mazy, of course, still on worn options, but of course Mazy now with trying to get it, put his nose up the inside, but Noble with much better grip is able to brake later into the corner, and in fact look at that, taking too much inner curb at that corner there, and that causes Mazy to get himself a corner cut. And now here comes Noble's teammate Matty now. He's got those tyres up to temperature already after a lap, and thanks to those worn options he might be a bit easy prey through the chicane. That's a daring move from the Williams driver up into another place. 2 bold moves in 1 lap. Incredible stuff from Matty, and Big Shot's almost out of shape on the exit. Here comes MoNsTER. Is now Big Shot's going to try back up the inside of Mazy. These Big Shot's on fresh primes. Mazy still on options, losing places hand over fist, because now he's let MoNsTER up the inside into the last couple of corners. Look at that, he's lost about 3-4 places in the space of 1 lap. He has to come in, he has no choice.
Yeah, I think Mazy, as I said, if it had been exactly the same for Noble and he had stayed out on lap 5, he probably would have been exactly the same as Mazy. Mazy struggling completely. Ricky out in front at the moment on his prime tyres. Fisi fan now in 12th place on his fresh primes, hunting down the Contadins, I think that is, in front of him in the Sauber, and he's not going to get onto the back of him just yet. And who's that coming out the pits? That's Schumacher. So now there's going to be 3 of them. Fisi losing the back end, almost going into the wall there, just about managing to catch the car. He will have DRS, but he'll be nowhere near the cars now after that mistake. And now a replay of Ryan getting slightly held up by his Ferrari mechanics, because Big Shot came in on the same lap and Ryan decided to risk it, but the pit mechanics weren't ready. As we now get a replay of xMattyG going around the outside of Big Shot player. This was a crucial move for Matty if he wants to have any chance of catching his teammate, as you can see just ahead. And he goes up into a net 2nd place as we now come on board with Contadins. And this is how he got past Fisi up the inside. Is he going to make it stick? I'm pretty sure he will. Fisi will be run out of road, or when he actually runs off the road and has to concede the position to Contadins. And we now cut back to Fisi, who is now under pressure from Ryan. So Fisi now losing places hand over fist, and may well go down into 12th place soon, with Ryan trying to push on after that mistake. And he's less than a 10th behind, so if he looks behind, you'll probably see Ryan right behind. Here we go. Ryan already on -1 lap of fuel there, so pushing his fuel strategy to the limit. may have even started on the optimal or -1 lap of fuel. So Ryan's going to have to do a lot of conserving if he wants to get to the end of the race.
That's very true. One thing I want to point out is, of course, the different kind of teams we got this year. Of course, we did lose Marussia and we also did lose Caterham, but as a result, we have now gained again Mercedes and Red Bull. So good to see them. But you know, we expected possibly this. It's not like real F1, of course. All the cars are fairly equal, with the exception of the Lotus and the Marussia, as Ryan was a little bit wide on the exit of that corner. Because they had a straight line advantage, which means, of course, they had to be banned because, of course, they were gaining something like 2/10 a lap. Another car says Tracy goes wide at turn 3, but Qualy won't go around the outside. Easy pickings for the Mercedes driver. And, of course, now Tracy's in a Mercedes sandwich because now his teammate Schumacher's behind him. Back with Ryan into turn 1, chasing after Fisi fan for P11. Best the rest outside the points. And the gap is half a second, but he has got DRS, and a little bit of curves down towards turn 3. Going to go to the outside this time, forcing Fisi to go defensive. And Fisi moves across just to try and prevent the Ferrari from going around the outside, which he's managed to do. But for the next corner, Fisi looks as though he's a little bit shaky. He's on the ropes, but Ryan's putting on that pressure. And also just behind Jason in the Force India, he's not too far behind also. So there could be a three-way scrap for 11th going on. As they're now heading towards turn 6 and 7 and 8, down towards the very tight, almost 90-degree right-hander of 9, which then curves onto that sweeping back straight. And is there anything possibly that Ryan can do here on the exit? Gets a much better, stronger exit. He's in the toe now, down towards the very fast, high-speed sweeps of 11 and 12. So that was that battle of regimes. Noble is now in second place and chasing after RickeeyC, who of course is on worn prime tyres because he started on them. Noble's are much fresher, and an ultimate pace. We know RickeeyC's quick, but it seems as though at the moment in that McLaren, not as quick as he was in the Caterham last year.
Yeah, Ricky definitely struggling this season, as you can see in qualifying down in 12th, I think it was. So he's really struggling to get to grips with how the car handles. And now Noble right behind Ricky. He hasn't got DRS, which is surprising, but you can see, I think Ricky, when he continued and Noble came out the pits, there was a 10-second gap. So within 3 seconds, 3 laps, Noble has caught 10 seconds to the McLaren driver as Noble makes it stick up the inside. And now Noble's teammate Matty running slightly wide there, and he's losing the back end as well. And here comes Big Shot up the inside, so Big Shot retaking second place from xMattyG, who made that mistake through turns 3 and 4. So that'll be disappointing for the Williams driver, but if he can keep on with Big Shot, because Big Shot, as he locks his front right again and losing the back end, his tyres are going off. As you can see, he pitted on lap 3, so his tyres are, as I said, his tyres are going off, and he's trying to keep the car on the track, but it looks like even MoNsTeR might be behind him now.
This is a replay of Tracy battling Macaulay over P7 and an outside pass through the Mercedes, and this is now Ryan. Looks like he finally did get past Fisi, and this is how he did it. Went to the inside of Fisi, even though he did push him towards the pit wall. Ryan made enough of a gap, and up the inside he went to P11. But looks as though Fisi tried to come back on the exit, and now of course he got behind. Jason's also going to try and attack as well. So this is a dilemma for Fisi. Does he attack Ryan? Does he try and defend from Jason? Eventually he has to settle for just a holding position for the moment, but I'm sure that battle will rage on. As RickeeyC now on lap 10, those prime tyres are past their best, and indeed he does pit in to get rid of them for a fresh set of prime tyres. Of course, he's on the alternate strategy, basically means that by the end of the race, he will be on a set of option tyres compared to everyone else on prime, so that can be pretty crucial. As we see now, Ryan running deep as the McLaren boys go to work on Ricky's car. And there goes Fisi up the inside, around the outside of the final corner, so Fisi's back into P11. The feeling that battle will go on all the way to the end of the race, I feel. As now we've got MoNsTeR now against Matty. These guys went toe-to-toe last year, second ever championship. Of course, Matty was in the car that MoNsTER's in right now, and of course MoNsTER was in the Sauber. So of course now it's Williams versus Toro Rosso rather than Toro Rosso versus Sauber. And MoNsTER trying to prove that he is the quicker of the two drivers. And look at that! Oh, was that Matty almost bulking MoNsTER through there? Wasn't as quick on the straights as he could have been, but not saying that was deliberate at all. But Matty wasn't as quick as possibly MoNsTER was expecting. Gave him a small bit of a nudge just to let him know, I'm here, I'm still back in 4th place, and I'm trying to close you down. And Big Shot's not too far away in 2nd place, but of course Big Shot just made the move a couple of laps ago. So we'll have to wait and see if Matty's tyres really are going off that quickly. Of course, Ricky's managed to last 10 laps. So if his are starting to really wear after about 6 or so laps, that's quite a worrying sign.
Yeah, the battle between Matty and MoNsTER continuing into Season 7. MoNsTER didn't manage to get his maiden F1 victory in Season 6 despite having quite a number of opportunities to do it, so he will want to get as good a result in Round 1 Australia to set his championship hopes alive. And Matty and MoNsTER both diving into the pits now on lap 11, so MoNsTER, having gone a lap later, is pitting on the same lap as Matty, so they're both diving into the pits now for another set of primes, and Randy coming into the pits as well. So they're all looking to get the undercut on Noble, who looks like he is steaming away with this race at the moment. But more importantly, Big Shot, who is only a few seconds down the road to Matty and MoNsTeR. As you can see, Matty just about coming out in front of the Toro Rosso driver, and they're going to have to push on hard on their fresh primes, as we've now got Ryan pressurising Fisi. Is that, yes, with the DRS as well, as you can see, top right, a pit cam as well. Ryan looking around the outside. Can he make it stick? He's just about managing to. Is he running off the track? No, he hasn't. Ryan doing a very similar move to xMattyG and making that move stick up into 6th place. So I was going to say that the Ferrari driver, a little bit of a disappointing drive, because Ryan finished what was, I think, 4th or 5th in the pre-season race round Silverstone, and he was down in 11th a few laps ago, but now he's pushing on. I mean, I know drivers have pitted, but Ryan trying to salvage at least a few points in round 1 Australia, as it looks like MoNsTeR's actually lost a bit of a gap to xMattyG, who's pushing on to try and close the gap to Big Shot, who should be coming into the pits this lap. And now Fisi fan trying to regain that position from Ryan in the slipstream. Looks like Ryan may well be running lean fuel mixture as well. A little bit of lag actually going on there in that Ferrari, as we now have Noble diving into the pits, and I'm sure we will see Big Shot come into the pits as well. And Noble going an extra lap, so his tyres will be fresher. He's just taking it easy, I think, out in front. He's taken advantage of the fact that 2nd, 3rd and 4th, Big Shot, Matty and MoNsTeR have been fighting, and Noble's been setting consistent lap times to just extend the lead lap by lap.
Clean stop by Williams, and Red Bull go to work on Trace Me in P5, and away he goes, 3.1 second stop, and Ferrari ready as well, so that must have been the Big Shot as well. And Noble exits out. Schumacher's now found himself in the lead through the stops, and there goes both Ryan and Fisi. So now he's going to have to watch there and get himself into the mix, as Matty now is watching that Big Shot coming out the pits, I believe. It is, in fact, so looking at that, looks like Big Shot has still managed to remain in front, but look at that, Matty's now trying to close in down towards turn 3 and almost getting too close to the rear wheel of the Ferrari's fresh prime tyres. Careful he doesn't cut it too much, otherwise he might get a puncture on that right rear, and that's the last thing you want. As now Matty closing once again towards turn 6. Would he be brave enough to dive up the inside? No. Forcing Big Shot to look in his mirrors, ran a little bit wide on the exit there through turns 7 and 8, and through up towards turn 9. Might get a look up here, 3rd time lucky, to the inside, down towards turn 9, up the inside. Big Shot will try and give him as much space as he can. There's contact, and Big Shot carries on through the middle of it. MoNsTeR capitalises and takes off both of them, so that's a key move now then. Was that 50-50, or was there someone to blame? Take us through it, Matty, because it's quite key. Up the inside, and well, from Matty's view, it's quite hard to see, because it looks as though Matty has the line, but Big Shot kind of turned across and there was contact as a result. Here's better with MoNsTeR. Let's look at it this way.
Yes, here we go. On board with MoNsTeR, you can see that's in the side pod on this game. As you can see now, look, it's going to be Big Shot hitting with the right front on Matty's side pod, making both of them spin. And I think Matty was at least half a car length ahead of Big Shot going through that right-hander. But I mean, Big Shot tried to hang it around the outside, and I think Matty would have tried to give him as much room as possible, but he didn't have to, because he had made the move stick, and because of his right front locking up, there was contact with Big Shot trying to hang it round the outside. So we'll see if the stewards have anything to say about it later on in the race, but for now Big Shot looks like he's going to struggle to get many points here today after spinning off into the gravel, and Matty losing a position to MoNsTeR, so MoNsTeR up into 2nd now. We'll see if Matty can catch MoNsTeR in the coming laps, as we're now on board with Ryan behind Noble, the race leader, who now has a very comfortable lead, and he's got Ryan and Ricky between him and his next challenger, MoNsTeR. As we're now on board with Fisi coming out the pits, he's gone a few laps extra than all the other runners actually, coming out on lap 14, so he's going to have fresh tyres, and Big Shot is only ahead of him now, so Big Shot down in 12th at the moment, so it took him quite a while to recover that car. As we're now on board with McLaren driver RickeeyC right behind Ryan, so Ricky trying to regain as many positions as possible after a very disappointing start to this race, and he's looking up the inside. Ryan just about managing to stay on the track, and his tyres are absolutely gone. Look at his tyres, especially the front left taking an absolute battering round here, and almost missing the pit lane there with his right front locking up, and now coming into the pits for a very welcome fresh set of primes. And it looks like he might actually go for an option stint at the end as well, Ryan here. So he is going maybe for another options, but he's not really going to give him that much pace, because the option tyres only lasting 3 or 4 laps, as Matty sets the fastest lap of a 24.7, trying to catch up to MoNsTeR after that incident with Big Shot. And Fisi fan down in 12th at the moment, really not showing what pace he had at the start. Ricky losing the back end through turn 4 and just about managing to save his car. And now MoNsTeR trying to get past the McLaren driver, but having to let off the throttle because there was absolutely nowhere to go. Can MoNsTeR get him into the next right-left complex? This is where Matty tried up the inside of Big Shot, and also Matty went up the inside of MoNsTeR, but MoNsTeR deciding no. He's going to wait until the straight, and so he's going to use probably some of his curves, maybe put it up into rich fuel mixture. Let's have a look. He hasn't put it into rich, but he is using some of his curves. He's going to look to the outside here. So can he clear Ricky before the fast left-right? Here we go. Ricky trying to hold it up the inside and hitting MoNsTeR. So now they've both compromised their runs, and here comes Matty in the Williams. He's taken Ricky. Is he going to take MoNsTeR as well? Here we go, up the inside of the Toro Rosso driver. And he has made it stick, has he? Oh, this side-by-side MoNsTeR just running out of room. And Matty up into second place. Brilliant driving here from the ARL drivers, Scott.
Absolutely, some fantastic racecraft from all these guys. And Matty just about gave MoNsTER enough room, but Matty's run a little too deep into the penultimate corner. That might give MoNsTER the run he needs. He will get DRS, and Matty's rear end sliding around, and Ricky's in there too. Look at this, a 3-car train. You can almost throw a blanket over them, they're so close. Look at this, MoNsTER are going to the inside. Where's Ricky going to go? Side by side down towards turn 1, and MoNsTER has the line and back into second place. Matty holding on just about. He's got the line now up towards turn 2, and he'll have DRS. He's lost curves as well, but that's not going to work out for him either. More contact down towards turn 3. MoNsTER still in front. And where's, of course, RickeeyC? Is he coming up the inside at all? I don't think he has. But MoNsTER's getting in there. And there's Ricky, in fact, still watching on, thinking, you boys scrap amongst yourselves. If you two fall to pieces, I'll just pop through the middle of you and take second place. Exactly how MoNsTER did when Matty and Big Shot collided, of course. Looking back, I want to say as well, also, through the pit stops, the Fisi gained an undercut on Ryan. Of course, he managed to make it through. So here's a replay then of something else that happened earlier on whilst we were watching that. This is the Contadins battling Schumacher. It's Sauber versus Mercedes. And that was Schumacher up the outside of Contadins, and that's another classic move. We've seen a couple of cars make that already, and Schumacher becomes the third person we've seen to do that. And now it's support with Ricky. He's fallen away from Matty, and of course, MoNsTER. Here comes his teammate Randy McScrandy up the inside down towards turn 12, and up the inside he goes. So a nice clean move. So Ricky seems to be falling behind. His prime tyres seem to be falling away. Looks like it might be time for him to make his second stop at this point in a few laps' time, I would have thought. In fact, does he stay to the right-hand side? No, he carries on. He feels he's comfortable for the moment, but maybe a couple more laps he may have to come in and get them changed. As we skip to lap 17 now, and Matty's now chasing MoNsTER for second place. These two, of course, scrap pretty much all season in season 6, and they've kind of picked up where they left off now for season 7. And this time it's Matty who will get DRS this time on MoNsTER. He has regained curves as well. And there it goes. DRS wing pops open, using the rest of his curves down the pit straight. He's probably going to use a double dose of curves down here to the inside. And again, it's a repeat performance of what MoNsTER did on Matty, straight up the inside, sliding into second place. But Matty's a little too shaky on the exit. And of course now, Matty will get DRS on the second straight and trying to pull away. And now Randy's not too far behind in proximity. So great battles going on for second, third and fourth. But all the while, we have to remember, as MoNsTER runs deep into turn 3, that gives Randy McScrandy all the invitation he needs. There's more contact. MoNsTER put his hand up saying, Randy, what are you doing? And Randy goes, well, I'm going past you for third place is what I'm doing. Straight into third place. But remember, whilst all these guys are battling, our friend Noble 299, he's running away with the race lead in the distance. So effectively, the harder these guys fight each other, the easier it is for Noble to take advantage and to pull away and almost take certain victory with about 11 laps to go.
Yep, Noble was absolutely gone. You can't even see him on the mini-map. He's so far ahead. He's just been setting consistent lap times. He's been very quick round here in practice and in qualifying, as you saw by taking pole position. So, as you can see, I think we just got a glimpse of his dot going over the finish line now. So, Noble very comfortably in first place. But there is a humongous battle for second place between Matty, Randy and MoNsTER. And Ricky just about managing to hang on to these guys, but he's probably going to have to make at least one more stop. And MoNsTER, here we go. Is he going to get? He's going to get DRS again. So here we go. Is he going to go up the inside of Randy? He's using some of his curves. He's open DRS now. Randy's left the room up the inside, and MoNsTER coming now down towards turn 3, braking hard now down into first gear. He's going to clip the apex nicely and just about managing to get rid of it. Yeah, Randy has to let go and of that position. Otherwise, there probably would have been a lot more contact than that. But these guys, they're wheel banging, but they're not exactly pushing each other off the track or making each other spin. So it's good driving, it's close driving, but that's what we like to see. As Fisi fan now trying to chase down Jason 97 F1, another one of the new kids in the Force Indy. He's just outside the points is Jason, but he'll be pushing on to try and get his first points of F1 as he runs slightly wide, and so does Fisi. His tyres are starting to go off now with 10 laps to go. And TRL92, who we haven't seen much of, is on -1 lap of fuel, trying to chase down Ricky, who's on very worn prime tyres indeed. And Trace looking for a very solid maybe 5th place here today if he can continue this and get past Ricky with no troubles, with TRL Macaulay 1.7 seconds back, and Trace diving up the inside, running wide though, so Ricky's going to regain that position. Trace maybe should have been a little bit more patient with that one as he ran off the track, as he's now going to get DRS and should be able to clear Ricky quite quickly. As MoNsTeR dives into the pits, it looked like Randy was going to carry on, but then saw MoNsTeR come into the pits, so decided that coming on to lap 20 now that these two will try and get the undercut on Matty, who has continued for another lap. So he doesn't really want to have 10 laps on those primes towards the end. It's going to be a struggle for those two, but they think that track position at this part of the race is going to be the most important. As Trace now with DRS looking at the inside of the McLaren driver. Ricky's broken very late indeed, almost later than Trace, who has fresh tyres. It's no surprise that Ricky's gone into the gravel, as TRL Macaulay has gained a lot of ground on Trace and's gone past Ricky, and so is Schumacher, I think, Macaulay's teammate, the other Mercedes. And so the two Mercedes drivers up into 4th and 5th. So those two are running very strongly indeed as well, and Ricky looks like he is trying to make it one more stop, but he's going to have to put on the options, Scott, because he started on the primes, as Randy looks like he is suffering from a massive lag spike.
Yeah, it certainly does. And of course, the thing we have to make sure, of course, is that obviously if the fuel burns off, of course, Ricky will be able to actually make those prime option tyres, run longer than the other guys in the beginning of the stint would have been able to when they started on. As Fissi's running deep into turn 3 of the replay there, and Jason manages to hold on to 9th place with that move. Now we're looking at Ryan 83. These two guys are still battling hard, tooth and nail, Fisi and Ryan, as now Fisi's now being held up by Jason through the high-speed chicane. Oh, Ryan's run deep over the grass on the exit, but now Fisi has the run on Jason down towards turn 12, pulls to the inside, and now I think Jason gives leave enough room and just lets him straight through. Right, Jason runs deep, but there's contact, and Ryan hits the back of Jason's car and loses an end plate off his front wing, as now this is a crucial stop. This is Matty in for his final stop, and he will go down to his final set of prime tyres. He's going to make them last 9 laps now, but of course with the fuel burned off, that will probably work as Traceby leaves as well. And that's now Sauber ready for, I think, the Constantine. Yes, it is. The Italian fits his last set of prime tyres. Brake is glowing there as he hits the stops, and so does Fisi as well. So frantic action on lap 20 then. I saw Ferrari ready as well, so that could have been either Ryan or possibly Big Shot. I'm guessing it's probably Ryan. As now we're looking at MoNsTeR, and Matty's just come out of the pits, and MoNsTER's hit his tyres are still, they are up to temperature now, so they head up down towards turn 3. Matty's getting very defensive and almost moves across too much on MoNsTER, but holds the line and holds on to 5th position. This is pretty crucial then. These two guys are pushing on to try and make sure this happens, and they can push on to possibly get themselves a podium through the pit stops. But again, possibly one of the key battles that will probably go on all season long once more. And running nose to tail, looks as though the Toro Rosso has not lost any pace from last year, and the Williams, of course, which was driven, of course, by the likes of Big Shot player and also Bedhead Ned and those kind of guys, and F1 SE Racing as well, has now been taken over by the first champion and vice champion of season 6, Noble in his final stop. So that's going to be a crucial one. The Williams boys will have to turn him around very quickly, as back to the scrap over what is at the moment P5, and MoNsTER trying to line him up as the Williams boys get to work for their reigning champion. And away he goes, 3 seconds, good stop, and still this battle rages on. I'm wondering possibly just, of course, you know, these guys won't have gained too much time because they're scrapping amongst each other. They're going to let this man run away with it, as there goes Ricky. Of course, remember, he has to make his final stop onto the option type. He hasn't run it yet. So onto the pit straight he comes then with Kurz and DRS down the front straight. And MoNsTER once again to the inside on Matty. Just about gives enough room before he makes the move. And straight back into now what is now 4th position. So Ryan 83 has yet to stop. So that must have been for a couple of laps ago. That must have been for Big Shot. As Randy sets a 23.9 fastest lap. So great stuff at the moment at the front, and we're coming to the final stages. Of course, it's all coming together now. MoNsTER and Matty are battling. Ryan's yet to stop. Of course, so is Ricky to go on the option tyres. This should be fascinating. With about 7 laps to go, it could be all access stations on the track. Yeah,
I'm not too sure where Ricky's going to come out when he pits for his final option stint. It looks like he's losing so much time to the cars behind on those ridiculously warm primes. He's going to have done 12 laps on them so far, and he's going to have to do another 2 or 3 if he wants his options to last. Noble's going to have to dispose of Ricky as quickly as possible, but really Noble hasn't got that much pressure behind him. They're probably 8 or 9 seconds back now, so Noble just taking his time, sitting behind Ricky and then getting the DRS which will probably regain him all the time that he lost anyway behind Ricky, as Ricky comes into the pits for a 7-lap stint on options. That is going to be very tricky indeed to go to the end without falling off the cliff. So where's Ricky going to come out? We will see, as Randy's now going to try and dispose of Ryan, who also is yet to stop, I think. Well, he's going to have to stop because his tyres are going to be absolutely shot by the end of this. And Randy now looking up the inside. Ryan's got DRS as well. Randy diving up the inside, managing to slow the car down just about and taking 4th place. And as you can see, 2nd and 3rd are not too far down the road once again. So Randy setting some very good pace here around Australia, as now Matty right behind MoNsTeR. And it looks like these two are going to be swapping positions all the way to the end of the race by the looks of things. MoNsTeR running very wide indeed. Is Matty going to try and take advantage of this? Yes, he is, up the inside now. He has passed the Toro Rosso driver pretty much into the braking zone, and MoNsTeR following Matty very closely indeed. Matty not getting a very good exit out of that corner, and MoNsTER's going to have DRS. As you can see, Matty almost running into the gravel there. And MoNsTER is going to get the double DRS, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Toro Rosso driver does fly past the Williams once again, with Randy bearing down on both of them at a right rate of knots. As here we go, Matty, the Williams driver, is he going to lose a position to MoNsTER even? It didn't look like it into turn 1, but we'll see going down towards turn 3 maybe, as Ryan comes into the pits for a fresh set of options and a new wing as well, as Callum loses connection, but I don't think he was running in a very strong position. And Fisi fan still down in, well, 11th place at the moment, so Fisi really not having a brilliant race today. Maybe it's just going to take him a little while to settle down into the sort of swing of things, and the new championship and the new cars and the handling and things like that, because Fisi had some great results last season, Scott, particularly Bahrain and I think Hockenheim as well.
Hockenheim was a great race. Of course, he just missed out on a podium when Noel ran out of fuel on the pit straight, and he just managed to pip him towards the line. So no Hockenheim this year. We've got Nürburgring, as now we're looking at Trace Meet being passed by Macaulay. So these new boys really stressing their stuff and showing that their top 3-4 in the GP2 league wasn't just a one-trick pony. It's shown they have genuine pace and they can race with the established names. As here we go, Fisi under attack from Jason once again into turn 1, and this time Fisi managed to hold it stiff, but Jason's kept his nose up the inside for turn 2. Have to settle back as you've lost TRL Schumacher. So Mercedes down to 1 car on the final lap. So Jason's up the inside of turn 3 and going around the outside. A small bit of oversteer moment as saw Fisi got his wheel on the outside curb. Now, was there contact with Jason? I'm not sure if there was. We'll have to wait and see if anything comes up at all from the stewards. Now then, this is now Ricky on the back of Big Shot. Starts on the front row, but now of course Big Shot back down in 8, so he's looking at the moment only at 4 points. Running deep won't do too much good, as he's out and up the inside goes RickeeyC into Rich Mix 3, saved half his curves now up into 6th gear, side by side down towards turns 11 and 12. Who's going to get the better line around the outside? Big Shot, very brave, holds on. That's one, but corner cuts. Oh, more contact! And Big Shot is getting really in the water today. More contact with RickeeyC, and he didn't seem to expect that at all. He saw a flying Ferrari straight across his bow. As now we've got MoNsTER once again on the rear wing of Matty down the pit straight, using all his curves again. Here he comes down the inside up towards with DRS as well, side by side in towards turn 1, and again MoNsTER up the inside. These two going back and forth. It's like a pendulum, Matty.
Yeah, and it looks like Matty's going to maybe have a look again. Here we go. He's in the slipstream now, putting to the outside, now going to the inside. MoNsTER not expecting that, and Matty regaining the position. MoNsTER turning in slightly too early into the rear wheel of Matty and losing the back end. And now Randy's all over MoNsTER. Is he going to go round the outside? This will be a brilliant move if he does. The McLaren driver losing slight speed, scrubbing off because he was turning in harder than MoNsTER was, and he's having to settle to stay in 4th place at the moment. But he's going to try and get past MoNsTER because MoNsTER doesn't look like he's, well, 100% no mistakes today. But here we go, Ryan actually setting the fastest lap of a 23.5 on those option tyres. But MoNsTER looking like he's a little bit vulnerable at the moment to Randy after that mistake on the rear wheel of Matty. And Big Shot, I don't actually know what's gone on there with the Ferrari, but slight bit of lag I think, and Big Shot causing Ricky to spin as Trace going up the inside of Macaulay now into turn 1. And making it stick, and he'll have DRS again down towards turn 3, and it looks like we're now cutting to the next lap, and Trace has run wide, and Macaulay, is he going to have DRS? I'm pretty sure he will, and he's going to fly past the Red Bull round the outside. Can he make it stick into the braking zone? Trace trying to defend, braking quite hard down into 1st gear, but Macaulay's managed to hang it round the outside, and Trace is having to settle to down into 6th place and understeering quite a lot through turn 4, as Ricky then makes more contact with Big Shot on the Ferrari. I'm sure Ricky is probably swearing in his helmet to his McLaren pits crew, but wow, I'm not too sure if there's lag between those particular drivers or if Big Shot just doesn't know he's there. But I'm sure Ricky will be very frustrated with Big Shot, and I'm sure we might hear a bit more of that after the race. But Ryan now trying to hunt down Jason. He's still on -1 lap of fuel, so Ryan really not trying to save fuel at this stage of the race. He's trying to go up the inside of Jason towards this right-left complex. Here we go, up into 11th. Can Ryan make it stick? Yes, he can on those fresh options. Well, fresh-ish options, I suppose. It's telling him to pit, but Jason's going to try and come back at him now towards the fast left-right. And Ryan's used some of his curves, so it looks like he may well just be about to hold 11th place. And as we cut now to Trace, trying to overtake Qualy towards the DRS detection zone. Here we go, the penultimate corner, and now the final corner behind the Mercedes driver. Trace has got no such issues with his fuel, but he has got issues with his rear traction as he loses the back end and getting slight oversteer, but he's getting great slipstream and DRS up the inside now into turn 1. Trace going up into 5th place and making it stick. Can Qualy get back? I'm not too sure. Trace will have DRS once again, and I think that is Trace up into 5th place, and a solid result if he can stay there.
Absolutely good points for Red Bull on their comeback for us because they missed out in Season 6, so they can get some solid points, of course, at least with Trace, that'd be fantastic, as MoNsTeR now in P3 still chasing after xMattyG, and xMattyG's actually been able to pull out a bit of a gap now. It's almost 2 seconds, but now MoNsTER's coming under attack from Randy. You see the gap there, it's a quarter of a second. You can see in the minimap in the bottom left-hand corner, that dot there, right just behind the big red dot, which of course, because we're riding with MoNsTER, that is the McLaren and Randy McScrandy. Good to see that Randy's found some pace in the second half of the race to stay with MoNsTER and potentially get himself a podium on the penultimate lap. Is there anything you can possibly do to change this now as they head into the final couple of corners here? And oh, that's huge oversteer from that was from Big Shot again. And this time Ricky managed to get through with no contact whatsoever because Big Shot was way off the racing line. So that is Ricky up into P8 after starting from P12 on the grid. And he's now flying through on the option tyres. Now MoNsTER is holding on to 3rd, but for how much longer? They will start the final lap of this season opening Season 7 race. And this is going to be a fantastic run here. Let's see if Randy can get himself closer down the pit straight. Here we go. One last time down the pit straight with DRS then. Into turn 1. Randy closes, but MoNsTER has looked measured so far. Through turn 2, down the back straight towards turn 3. Randy will get DRS once again in the second DRS zone. How much can he close? Down towards turn 3. Almost as though MoNsTER left the door open slightly, but MoNsTER covers the line well on the exit. Back to the front, and this man has been absolutely dominant from start to finish. And what can you say? Anything other than exceptional. As now we've got Fisi on the last lap also. He's under attack from Ryan, it looks as though. He's 8 tenths behind. This could be down to the wire as well. Rich Mix 3 is on optimal, and here's Ryan is 1 in lean. So battle's going all the way down the field. Last lap of the race. I think we're set for drama here, Matty.
Yep, the two former teammates, Fisi and Ryan, fighting over the single points paying position on this final lap of the round 1 Australian Grand Prix. Here we go, Ryan in lean still. I'm quite surprised he's still in lean because it says he's in optimal, so he will get to the end of the race. He's just heard me. He's put it up into standard, so he's now going to try and get past Fisi in the last few sectors of this lap, as we're now on board with MoNsTER, who has just about managed to keep hold of 3rd place, and Noble coming over the line to take his first win of Season 7. And an all-too impressive performance by Noble, as it looks like Big Shot now going up the inside of Ricky. This is for 8th place. Can he make it stick there side by side? Ricky almost being pushed off the track here, but Big Shot now looking up the inside again. Ricky being run out of road and going into the wall. I'm sure that Ricky will have something to say to Big Shot about at least one of those incidents after the race, but those two have seen each other quite a bit in this race, as Ryan now all over the back of Fisi. Who's going to get the final points paying position? Looks like Fisi's struggling for fuel maybe, or just power, but it looks like he's actually pulling away now. So Fisi using some of his curves and getting 10th place, just ahead of his former teammate Ryan L83. And this is the replay, Scott, of Big Shot going up the inside of Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky was wide across the exit of the curb. Big Shot just kept his footing on the inside. And I think Big Shot was mostly alongside. He had every right to be there, and Ricky looks like he understeered and just ran out of road. So I don't know how you can call that one. This one though, with Fisi fan up the inside, and again Fisi understeered, and look how close that is to Fisi getting his wheel on the gravel. And this is the run to the flag then, and Ryan was practically pushing Fisi on the line, but with curves and even going to Rich Mix 3 didn't help, and Fisi pulled away to hold on to that 10th place. But there we go, again an all too familiar sight. I thought we'd see enough of this in Season 6, but clearly not. Season 7, first race of the season, and Noble takes it at the maximum 25 points. So there we go. Nothing really changed. How times don't really change from Season 6 to Season 7, even with go from F1 2012 to F1 2013, do they? Matty, there's the results. Do the honours.
Thank you very much, Scott. Noble 299 taking the victory, a very easy victory for him from his teammate xMattyG. So a Williams 1-2, very ominous for the rest of this season. TRL MoNsTeR taking third place, the final place on the podium, just behind Matty, with Randy having to settle for fourth place in the McLaren. TraceMe92, a very solid fifth place for him, 10 points. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. With TRL Qualy just coming home behind him, he couldn't take Trace towards the end of the race. With contadins coming home in 7th, and also a very strong finish for him in the Sauber, with RickeeyC coming home in 8th. So despite his options being completely worn, finishing in 8th, because Big Shot Player had a 5-second penalty after the incident with Ricky, with the lag incident through the fast left-right, and Fisi Fan taking the final points paying position in front of Ryan in the second Ferrari. Jason 97 F1, one of the new boys, finishing home in 12th, 38.9 seconds back, so not too far away from points, but having to settle for 12th today. Mazy CZ finishing well off the lead, almost 1 minute 10 seconds back, with TRL Schumacher, iProX Callum and F1 X360 not finishing. And this is how the Drivers' Championship looks. So Noble obviously taking the victory with 25 points, and obviously it's only one round gone, but Noble looking very, very strong indeed.
Absolutely. Of course, for the first round, of course, the top 10 is a direct reflection of today's result. Of course, for the record, Noble takes 25 points, Matty takes 18, MoNsTeR takes 15, so really there's no real change from the top 3. It's a repeat of season 6, of course. And Constructors' Championship, of course, Williams now find themselves top 43 points, the maximum score. McLaren with 16 points, Toro Rosso with 15, Red Bull, a strong start for them with 11 points, and Mercedes also coming back with 8, Sauber with 6, Ferrari with 2, and Force India the only team not to score. So a very exciting and intriguing opening round, I have to say, Matty. And of course, if that's what we set up for the next few races, of course, next round, of course, in Malaysia, it's set to be an absolute thriller. I can't wait. Season's kicked off in style, and everyone's been looking forward to it, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Roll on, Malaysia.
I can't wait for Malaysia either, especially with the dynamic weather. There may well be rain to spice things up a little bit, and maybe it won't be so easy for Noble. We will find out on the 3rd of November. It's going to be round 2, the Malaysian Grand Prix. Thank you very much, Scott, for commentating with me.
Pleasure as always, Matty. I'll see you guys in Malaysia. Can't wait for it.
See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.